Hello guys and welcome back. So now in this video we will be adding the system in which the player will be able to go through each of the shop rifle and the player will be able to buy that rifle. Okay, first of all we're gonna add the buttons. As I told you in the previous video is that using the N key we will move the rifle menu items next, and when we press the P key the items will go to the previous one, and when we press the B key we will buy that rifle. Okay, so right here add a action, name this as next, and in here select the N key of the keyboard, then add another action, name this as previous, and for the previous we're going to select the P key of the keyboard, and you can also select the buttons for the controller as well. Okay, now let's add another action, and this will be the buy key. So for the buy we will use the B key of the keyboard. Okay, then click save and then open up the input manager script. Right here we're going to create a bool by the name of next input, then another one will be previous input, and then the last one will be buy input. Okay, now let's copy this last line, paste it, change this to next, and change this right here to next input, then copy it again, paste it, type previous right here because that is what we name our action in the player controls, and right here we need to type this bool name which is previous input, and then for the buy input as well, so add buy input right there, and right here just type buy. That's it. Now we need to create a method for it as well, so paste it 3 times. Let's change this one to handle next input, then this one to handle previous input, and change this one to handle buy input. Okay, so let's start from the next. Right here, when the next input is pressed, we will say next input equals to false. Then right here, if the previous input is pressed, then we will set the previous input to false, then the buy input, and set the buy input to false as well. So our inputs are now ready. We just have to call that methods in here. Okay, so handle next input, handle previous input, and then handle by input. Okay, make sure that you do this. Then get back right here, click on scene view, open up the shop system, and on the shop systems, now whenever we enter the shop, we want to show these rifles. Okay, let me move this shop main a little bit to the left side, then forward right there. Okay, then enable the camera, move the camera closer like this. Okay, so now when we enter the shop we want the camera to be like this, okay, to each of the rifle, whatever rifle we are buying. Okay, then to this one, and then to the pistol which is right here. Okay, so what we will be doing in order to create this animation type of thing is when we enter the shop, as you know, we will be able to select this AKM, but as you know that this AKM and all of the other rifles are attach to this whole shop. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create three transform right here. The first one will be for the AKM, the second transform will be for this rifle, and the third one will be for the uh, pistol. And when we enter the shop, we will set the camera transform equals to the AKM transform, and then when we press the N key, or you can say the next key, then we will set the camera transform to the M416 transform, and then when we press next key again, we will set it to the pistol transform. Okay, so in this way our camera will move next and previous position. So in the outside the shop UI, right here in the shop system, create a empty transform. Okay, and let's actually remove that and create a 3D cube. Okay, this 0.5 and move this cube right here. Okay, so this will be our first transform. Then duplicate this, move it down, then duplicate it again and move it closer to the pistol. Okay, so these will be our three transform. Name it as 1, 2 and 3. Then select it and remove the mesh renderer and the mesh and also the box collider as well, because we just need these simple transforms. Okay, now once we have this, go inside the rifle and shop system, and right here we're gonna create a new C# script now by the name of camera position manager. And now on this camera position manager script, we will move the camera to each of the rifle. Okay, or you can say we will add the next and previous input system and also the buy system. Okay, so add the script to the shop camera right there, then open this up. What we're gonna do in here is at the top add using unity engine.ui, then at the top make a public transform array in which we will provide our rifles transforms, okay, which we just created. So name this as camera positions. Okay, then after this create a public integer by the name of current position index. It will be 0 by default. Then we need a reference to our game manager script. Then we need a reference to our collider action script as well. After this, we will create a reference to our price text, because now we will be showing the rifle price as well. So name this as price text. Right here in the start method, let's first of all set the reference for the game manager. So we will say find object of type game manager, then set the reference for the collider action as well. So find object of type collider action. Okay, after this, now let's set the camera initial position. So we're gonna say transform dot position will be equals to camera positions current position index dot position, and also we want to set the rotation as well, so add that as well. Then right down below the update method, let's create a method for moving to the next rifle. Okay, so we're gonna create a new method by the name of next. Actually, name this as next position, okay? And when this method is called, we're gonna move the array current position index to the next one. So we're gonna say +1 right here, and we're gonna divide that by the camera position dot length. Okay, so if the length is 3, then it will move in 1 2 3. That's it. And when we click the previous button, then we will use -1 and it will move to 3 2 1 like that. Okay, then after this, in here we need to pass another method, okay, which will be by the name of move camera, because we want to move the camera when we set the position. So for moving the camera, we will just use this line, these two lines. Okay, which is transform dot position equals to camera positions array, then pass the current position indexed, then dot position, and the same for rotation. And then when we set the position now for the next rifle, then call this move camera method. Okay, and now let's create a method for moving to the previous rifle. So I'm going to copy that, paste it, change its name to previous position, and right here we're going to say -1 and then plus camera positions dot length. That's it. Then let's create a method for buying the rifle as well. So I'm going to name this method as buy item, and in this buy item we're gonna now first of all check if the current position is equals to 0. It means that if it is the first rifle, okay, then we will also check if the player is inside the shop, okay, and also the player is touching the collider. So we check that right here, in which when the player touches the collider, we set the player trigger to true. So right here we are just using that player triggered pool, okay. So if it is true, okay, and also we're gonna check if the player didn't buy any of the rifles, okay. Let me tell you what I mean by this is, for example, right here, as you know that our first rifle will be the AKM, okay, the second one will be the M416, and the third one will be this pistol. So before buying this AKM, we will first check that if the player doesn't have the AKM rifle, and then in that case only we will make the player buy this AKM, okay. So we need to check that, and in order to check it, we're gonna use the game manager dot akm prefab is equals to false. Okay, so if it is false, then we're gonna first of all set a price for this akm. So create a integer by the name of item price, and it will be $50, for example. And then we're gonna check if the player money is greater than the uh, item price, because if it is less, then we will not allow the player to buy it, okay. So if it is greater than the player money, then I mean if the player money is greater than the item price, then let's make the player buy this item. So in order to make the player buy this item, we're gonna first of all deduct the money from the player, and as you know that on the game manager we have the player money right here, so we use game manager dot player money minus equals to item price. Okay, so after deducting the money, let's show a message in here that in the console, which will be item bought for, we're going to show the item price and then we use the plus money. So 150 and money. Okay, in this way it's going to show it in the console. Then also when the player bought this AKM, then the game manager AKM prefab will be set to true because now the player has bought it. Okay, so game manager.akm prefab equals to true. Now let's do the same for the other rifle. So as you know, our second rifle will be the M416. So I'm going to copy and paste this, change this to else if, and now if the current index is 1, player is triggered, and this time the M416 prefab is false. Okay, if the player doesn't buy the M416, then M416 will be on $70. We're going to check the player money before buying it, and then when the player has money, we're going to deduct the money. After that, we're going to show the price in the console that for how much the player bought it, and then we're going to set the M416 prefab to true. Let's do the same for the pistol now, which is on the third. But as you know, arrays start from 0, 1, 2. So in this way, we just need to type 2 right here. And then instead of again prefab, we're going to say pistol prefab is false. Then pistol will be worth as 20, actually $35. We're going to check the player money, make the player bought it, deduct the money from the player, show that how much money has been deducted, and then we're going to say pistol prefab equals to true. Okay, so now we have the buy item method ready. Now in the update, we need to call these all methods. Okay, so let's first of all start from the next position method. So whenever we press the next button, we're gonna call that next position method. Okay, so first of all, add a reference to the input manager script. So we're gonna say input manager, name this as input manager as well. Then right here, input manager equals to find object of type input manager. Okay, so now on the input manager, its name is next input. Okay, so if the input manager dot next input is pressed, okay, then we're gonna say next position. All right, after this, we're gonna say that if the previous input is pressed, then we right here gonna say previous position. And after this, we're gonna say that if the buy input is pressed, so buy input is pressed, then we will call the buy item method. Okay, and right here we're gonna complete our mission 2. So for now we're gonna leave a comment. Now there is one thing more left, is we are not showing the price to the player. Okay, so as you know that we have this price text reference. So now when the camera is on each of the rifle, we're gonna show the text. Okay, let's start from the first one. If the player is on the first rifle, then we're gonna say price text dot text equals to, we're gonna say price, then the item price, and then we will add dot, I mean the money keyword at the end. Then the same for this one and for this one as well. Then if you get back right here, as you know that we are setting the camera position and rotation the same as this rifle transform position. So what we're gonna do now is we will make the forward vector of this in the forward direction like that. Okay, so make the y minus 90 and move this a little bit out right here, for example. Then do the same for this one, make it minus 90 and move it outside. Then the same for the gun as well, make it minus 90 and move it outside. That's it. Then click on camera, and in the camera we need to provide these camera positions. Okay, then the price text. So in the shop UI we have this rifle price, drag and drop that, and if you click on event system right here, as you know, it shows this warning. So click on this replace with input system UI input models. Okay, that is all. Now we can start the game. Now let's get closer. Okay, so let's press E. Okay, as you can see, it is showing the first rifle, but we can't go next nor previous, and we can't even buy the rifle. It is also not showing the rifle price as well. Okay, so I have checked it out and I find one solution for this is to first of all remove this all if conditions from here from the update method, and also remove a reference to the input manager. Okay, from the camera position manager script. Okay, because now we will be calling these methods somewhere else. Okay, on our input manager script actually. So first of all, make this next as public, then the previous position method as public, and the buy method as public as well. And when you make them public, then get back right here on the input manager script. Okay, and at the top make a reference for the camera position manager. Okay, then in the awake method set the reference, so camera position manager equals to find object of type camera position manager. Then after this, right down below in the handle next input, we're gonna say we're gonna call the next position method, and as you know that it is on the camera position manager script, so type camera position manager dot next position. Okay, then we can do the same for the previous one. So inside the if condition right here, we're gonna now call the previous position, and in here we're gonna call the buy item method. Okay, and when you do this, save the script, get back to Unity. Okay, here is our shop system, everything is attached, and right now we will not be able to see the price text change, but don't worry, we're gonna fix that first. Let's see if this issue is fixed or not. So if I go inside the shop now, press E. Now as you can see, here is our first rifle. If we press N, here is our next. We need to move the transform of this second rifle a little bit backward like that. Okay, and then it's gonna change it. And if we click next, here is our next rifle, and if you click P, we can go back as well, as you can see. So now for example, let's buy this rifle. Let me clear that out. Okay, let's click on B key. As you can see, it now shows the price, which is 70. Okay, and also it shows item bought for 70. Okay, and if you check the game manager right here, as you can see, the M416 prefab is set to true because we bought it, and as you can see, the player money is being deducted. Okay, so this works now. So we have to do some few changes. First, set the position of the rifles, and then set this price thing as well. Okay, so for the AKM, the transform is good. We just need to move this one down, I mean backward, and this one was good as well. We just need to move it a little bit in. That's it. Okay, and now for the text, we need to open up this camera position manager, and as you know that this buy item, script is called when we buy that item, and when we buy that item, then right here we show that item price. But now we will not be showing the item price right here. Okay, we will now be showing that in the update method so that the price is updated instantly. Okay, so for this, what we're gonna do, we're gonna add if condition in which we're gonna say that if it is the first rifle and also the player is in the collider, then we can get back right here and cut this from there and paste it in this if condition. Okay, now let's do it the same for the next one. So we just gonna copy this, paste it 2 times. Let's give some space in between the if conditions, change this to 1 and this one to 2. That is all. And also scroll down, remove this line now from there and from here as well. That is all. All right, price text. So price text and price text. Right here we have the collider action dot player triggered, everything is set. And as you know that the item price is in this inside in here, so we need to move this. Okay, so copy it, and for the first rifle right here paste it, then these for the second one, and for the third one the second rifle was worth 70 and the third one was 35. Okay, 50, 70, 35. That's it. Now you can get back and start the game. Now let's walk towards the store. I don't know why the player stuck on this store. As you can see, sometimes the player gets stuck. Now, but we're gonna fix that. Don't worry. Let's press E. Now, as you can see, it shows the price correctly. Now you press next, 70. Press next, 35. Press previous, 70, 50, 70, 35. Let's spot it. Now, let me show you the game manager. As you can see, we didn't import the pistol and the player money is 150. Now if we buy this, as you can see, player money is now 115. Pistol prefab is set to true. Now if we click previous, let's spot buy this one. As you can see, player money is decreased and we have the M4. And now right here when we press B, we can't buy this because the price is 50 and the player money is 45. So that's why we can't buy this now. Alright, so everything works perfectly fine. As you can see, we now have the shop system, the player inventory, so that which rifle does the player has, as you can see. Okay, now the next thing which we will be doing now is when we press some button, for example using the C button, we're gonna change each of our rifle. Okay, so right here when the player doesn't have any rifle, we press the C key. Okay, then the first rifle will get active, and when we press C again, then the next one, and when we press C again, then the third one. Okay, so using the C button we will change our rifles because now we have the shop system and the inventory system. Okay, and when we are able to change the rifles, then after that we gonna work on the shooting. So stay tuned for the next videos.